Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer and Timespinner, both vanilla and randomized fans, also Final Fantasy Vanilla fans. We have a special race for you. This is, I'm going to call it semifinals. It might not be, but we'll see.
It is now.
Yeah.
It is because we say so.
Fair enough. Today we have the two teams, KARY on my Wayward Sons versus Bubble Soda Company, always carbonated TM. They'll be facing off for, well, just to see the outcome is
who
a
wins
bit muddy.
And who loses? Who lives and who dies?
Yeah.
It's a very extreme tournament here.
Yeah. The exact outcome will depend on another race, so I'll move on. So on KARY on my Wayward Sons, we've got Chanigan and Luffy playing. The team layout is flipped from what we see.
Oh.
And on Bubble Soda Company, we've got Hate the 13th and Saracen. Timespinner players on the bottom, FFR players on the top. I am excited to see these two teams duke out. We've had the bracket set out so they haven't faced before.
It'll be exciting. I am that llama girl joining because I have limitless knowledge about Timespinner, and Animal Tryhard here is here to help me with Final Fantasy Randomizer, which I have zero knowledge of.
Yes. Even though I'm the Timespinner player in this tournament as well. It's a doozy. So, before the race starts, I'd like to point out some party compositions for Final Fantasy. Saracen side for team Bubble Soda Company, we've got what is called a fighter rainbow, a fighter and one type of every mage. Meanwhile, Luffy replacing that white mage for a thief, because thieves have a lot of agility. They have lock picking at level 15, which means they can get the key by just leveling up.
Aren't they kind of fragile, though?
Yeah, they have about as much HP as a white mage, so...
Well, yeah.
Unless there is a blessing that changes that, we do have class... I think it's just one class blessing on.
I would not know.
Yes. Let's see. We'll get you an update on the blessings once we get info on that.
Oh, and looks like they are off.
All right. Going to Corneria Magic Shop, White Magic. We've got Life 2 Slot 3. That is White Mage locked.
Ooh.
And Slot 4 Exit, that is Promotion locked or just White Mage locked. So Red Wizards and White Mages.
Mm-hmm. In Timespinner, we have Shattered Orb, which is one of the better orbs, in my opinion, and the Aura Blast, which is your starting spell, so not necessarily good or bad. Shattered Orb is interesting in that it hits multiple times per attack with decreasing damage amounts each time, but the benefit to that is that enemies in this game will hesitate or freeze for just a little bit when you hit them. So the Shattered Orb will actually stall out bosses on some attacks, and you can usually kill them before they start certain kinds of attacks.
What?
Yeah.
I was starting to think that each orb had its own like little tiny effect. But I guess that's for me to research. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy players, they have a pretty long run off of the hard reset in the encounter table. I didn't see any encounters on the way to the Temple of Fiends, so overall grinds might be not so good this time.
Mm-hmm. Nothing much to report on Timespinner side, so they're going to have to go right into the caves and then finally the castle until they can find some things that get them out of this area.
Back on Final Fantasy side, it seems that we don't have a lot of damaging spells, so they're going for Bane strats. Bane is basically an AoE instant death spell that has to make a check against magic defense. Garland, being a low-level boss, is very susceptible to it.
Ooh, we got Twin Pyramid Keys in a nice, easy access spot. Twin Pyramid Keys is the fast travel of the game, so that's going to prevent a lot of backtracking and going to open up a lot of pathing decisions. Whereas if you don't have the Pyramid Keys, you might have to think about, well, I don't want to go back to that check because it's all the way over there. Now you can just use this fast warp if you have gotten to that warp already. They do need to remember to use the warp at least once. Okay, we got Shanigan using it, and it looks like we have the very first warp on the left. Interesting. And back in the present. I'll let you go.
Yeah, so starting at that Lake Desolation means that they're going to have to take the bottom route through Lake Desolation because the top path is blocked off by overgrown vines. The runners will need to burn those vines in the equivalent area Lake Serene in the past.
Mm-hmm. For those of you unfamiliar, Timespinner has the two castles standard, but it's basically the same world in the past and the present. The Lake Desolation that Shanigan's in is in the present, and it looks like Hate is going to be going through the past. So we got quite a bit of a divergence here, which is what I meant about the Twin Pyramid Keys, giving you a lot of variance between the two racers.
Yes. Meanwhile, in Final Fantasy Randomizer, the Dwarf Cave has your ship. That ship is essential because I'm pretty sure it's a fast ship and it opens, once you have the canal, it'll open up the Earth continent with Melmond and the Earth Cave specifically. Getting to those dungeons is essential.
Wanted to mention Hate over here, checking out the hidden area under the moat. Most players will think that you need some sort of verticality to get to it because the bridge is always down. But if you lift the bridge up and then jump your best from the edge of the platform, you can actually make it without any vertical movement. And that's what Hate did, and Shanigan might do it as well. You do have to go back to the warp gate, though, to set the bridge back down. Otherwise, you can't get in the castle.
I've had so many times where I'm like, okay, time to get... Oh, wait. Ooh, AP item is only 3,000 gold, and it seems to be the loot. That is required to finish FFR, and it's usually one of the last hinted for items in Archipelago. Oh yeah, this is on Archipelago. These items randomize across both games, so they can be finding each other, like Luffy sending Max Aura to Shanigan right here. It's chaos, and I love it.
Timespinner, players are looking for a few things. Now that we know where their present warp is, we know that they need to get certain key cards. They're on specific key cards, and they need the B key card to get into the lab, which is the end game. They also need the D key card to get out of the library. I had to think for a moment because most of the races that have been shown have had warps that are beyond the library, so you don't need that key.
Yeah.
They also need the 3 Timespinner gears, and the Timespinner wheel, and the spindle, and some form of infinite vertical, either light wall or celestial sash.
Yep. And to add on, the last thing Timespinner runners will need is the water mask to get.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
to just
that.
swim underwater. Sorry, folks, we're not light wall glitching today.
No glitches today. They need to get underwater because one of the required bosses is underwater from here, and since they are started on inverted, which means that they start in the past, their warp can't sneak them past it.
Yep. Inverted always starts you in that camp, so you get a few checks for free.
Talk to your
And-
girlfriend, get something cool.
Yep. Let's see, we've got in the ramparts, we saw Library Keycard V, which is actually useless because we don't have checks based on downloadable items.
No DLC in this rando.
Yep.
We got... Go ahead.
Earlier, we noticed that Chanigan went to the present. I think he doubled back on that decision, saved quit, went back to the past.
You do need something to get past that first jump that tries to teach you about time stop. But any sort of movement tech will get you through it. But you can't get past that one spot. But there are some checks that you can do on the way there. So sometimes players just gamble that what they need is along there. But I think it was the right choice to double back, because there's only so many checks, whereas in the past here, there's oodles of little goodies they can get.
Chanigan's getting real close to those giantesses for red HP. And speaking of red HP, Hate has died.
Not too far back. Oh, we got Void Mayeth over here with Hate. Got custom sprites. Mayeth is a little black void now. Not too far back, but that's a bit of a setback. It's put Chanigan again ahead of him. Yeah, those giantists, the ones with the hammers, hit pretty hard, and they're hard to dodge if you don't have any movement tech. They are weak to the Shattered Orb, though. If you notice, the little numbers are red. There are several damage types in the game, and enemies are either strong, weak, or neutral to them.
Yeah. So our runners, starting with Aura Blast and Shattered Orb, means they have aura and bludgeoning damage, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you see the giantess on Hate's screen, very heavily armored, and if you didn't know in real life, heavy armor is very weak to bludgeoning damage.
It makes sense. Don't question it.
Hey, the game is correct according to real life, so I'm happy. It's like I've seen plenty of other games abuse heavily armored people by bringing a big hammer.
Aura, not too many things are weak to aura, but I do think most of the human enemies in this area are.
Yeah, a lot more enemies in the past, including Alana, one of the required bosses, is weak to aura.
Due to lore reasons, but who cares about story? We're racing here.
What? You're thinking about story in a randomizer? Meanwhile, in Final Fantasy, I believe this is the Hall of Giants that Luffy's in, a great place to grind with randomized enemy tiles, and we have metal slimes here. Very good EXP. They're weak to Fire 3, which the runners have at level 2 slots.
So, just commenting, Chanigan has cleared out the castle and has not found any verticality. So, maybe what I just said, that gamble of going to the present, was supposed to be the right choice.
Yeah.
Unless it's in their partner's world. But they cannot go any further in the castle.
Yeah, it seems that either they're gonna they'd have to hint for it, or maybe it is one of these starter checks in Lake Desolation. We'll see really soon.
And then it comes to be, which verticality do you hint for? Because it's pretty much a gamble. You really want the Celestial Sash, because it's the easiest and infinite vertical, and it can get you everywhere. However, it could be locked behind some other things, and you're just waiting around Burger King mode to get something from your partner. Looks like Shanigan did not go up to get that one chest that is near the vines above here.
Yeah, he's...
Maybe he forgot about it.
That's a good point. I'm not quite sure what the plan is here. Hoping for the Timespinner wheel check will be something.
Mm-hmm.
See, meanwhile, it seems both FFR runners are in the Earth Cave.
It was not. Huh. Maybe it's that check near the vines? One of the cool things about the Timespinner Randomizer, though, is there's a built-in map tracker. If you bring up the map and press and hold attack, it will highlight in orange places that you haven't checked that can be reached.
Ah, the Final Fantasy players have it.
Mm-hmm.
So the Celestial Sash, as Chanigan just hinted for, is in Volcano 10, which is in this room called the Armory. Very dense amount of chests. They're just everywhere. Most people love going to the Volcano Armory just to get so many items, especially when it's considered all loose in a format like this.
Mm-hmm. Is it dangerous enemies there, or just...
It's the second of the 4 elemental dungeons, so typically the second crystal you'll light in your Final Fantasy playthrough, so it's a very mid-level dungeon.
Mm-hmm. It looks like Shanigan did forget about that chest. Let's just hope there's nothing in it.
Yeah, since he knows where the sash is, he's likely just going to where he...
Heading back into the castle to wait. But since they have the pyramid keys, it's not that hard to get back to where he was.
Luffy is booking it to the volcano, so Chanigan is probably was screaming to him, Hey, go to volcano right now! Please, go to volcano!
Listen, if you love me, you'll go to volcano.
Yes, because the way that the timing works for these races is it totals both runners' times. So if one runner can help the other finish significantly faster, it is good for the team. So Luffy's running straight for the armory. Let's see what there is. The sash, plasma crystal, a shard. The shards are probably some of the biggest things Final Fantasy players can find, because they need 8 shards to increase the amount of EXP they get from enemies. And it's also the other way they reach go mode. You get 32 shards, you can finish the game.
Looks like Hate is checking out the present, because they know there's chests there and they have some checks left to do. It'll be just up to them if they hint for the same vertical movement or if they go for something else.
Yeah.
And if Saracen randomly wanders into Volcano.
Yeah. In my experience, a lot of people just hint for Sash the whole time because it's the fastest thing, and it's also, you can get go. It is a go mode item. Like, if you hint for Succubus, you'll need to find additional movement, and Light Wall is a lot slower than Sash, especially if you have offensive.
If you can get one of them, that's the one. Hate checked that chest that Chanigan forgot, and there was absolutely nothing in it other than money for their partner.
It's a good chunk of money, 45,000 gold. That'll likely be enough to buy any gold bracelet, which is the best purchasable armor for light classes, like mages.
We got Chanigan over here. I think I switched the music over to Chanigan's. I am baby with using this tracker here, but got fighting the Golden Idol, weak to bashing, and one of those that has a huge hitbox, so you can really see the delay from the Shattered Orb.
Now that you pointed out, I feel like a better Timespinner player already.
The more you know.
Alright, speaking of gold bracelets, they were pricey, but they rolled at +1, so those mages are going to be really happy that they got so much money from Hate.
They are still a bit of a low level to fight this boss. This boss is actually the, let's see, 4th you're supposed to fight.
Yeah. You have its weakness. It's fine. See, it's dead.
All the bosses in this game have pretty good telegraphing, too. It is possible to do the whole boss without getting hit once. There's an achievement for it. And so it is possible.
If you play Nightmare level 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is possible to do at lower levels. It just takes longer because you're doing little teeny baps instead of big baps.
Meanwhile, in the volcano, I saw Luffy fighting an Agama. Was that a random encounter or was that a tile?
I hear those terms.
It's a tile. It's an Agama
okay.
tile. Oh,
So,
that's huge.
I know Agama's the good EXP.
Yep. And it's a safe
tiles
tile.
mean you step on it and it always spawns?
Yep.
Cool.
Better yet, it is a safe tile. So Luffy can just walk down, and because it's touching the inside of the wall, it does not progress the encounter table. So you won't fight anything but Agamas.
That's cool. Shenanigan is heading into the Royal Towers. Since they have the sash, they can get basically everything here. Water Mask was sent to Hate from Earth Cave. So that's important.
Yeah, the runners were... I don't know if Shenanigan has the water mask, because I remember seeing Luffy previously in the Earth Cave. Very likely he does have it.
I didn't notice it, but it's hard to catch everything while we're trying to watch 4 different streams.
I feel you, especially when everything is loose, so you get caught off guard. Yeah.
So we're probably going to see Hate run to the Maw first, which is the underwater boss, while Shenanigan continues through the Royal Towers with the verticality that he has.
Hate still needs some form of verticality in order to get to the Maw, because you need to clear that one jump.
Not anymore, I think.
He doesn't even have the Timespinner wheel yet, so...
Which jump are you thinking of?
The one with the moth.
Oh, yes. I forgot we're on that side of the Greenwood Forest.
Yep.
Need something to get over there.
There have been plenty of times where either me or my partner thinks, wait, I can't get to this area. Oh, and the Timespinner wheel is in the Royal Towers.
Oof. So that's one that is gated behind other things.
Yeah, and I remember seeing Hate hint for the Timespinner wheel, so he probably hinted for it and went, oh.
Oh, we got confirmation both have the water mask. So Shenanigan is in a real lead right now because of that Celestial Sash hint being accessible rather quickly.
Yeah. Ooh, and that's Gear 2 as well.
There's a lot. That was in Volcano.
Oh, and the cube was in Royal Towers.
Wow.
The cube gives access to the second half of the most chest-dense dungeon in the game. Also the final elemental dungeon, so good EXP, good chests.
Oh, the hit points are scaring me. Okay. Got down to 18, I was scared.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Luffy hinting for Chime. It's either in Luffy's own world, or he doesn't have the hint points for it yet. Mm-hmm. But we'll know where that chime is soon, because you get the cube, you want that chime, because 50-something chests, I think it's 53, and the 4 possible shards from killing Tiamat. It's amazing.
Then we have the fight with Elana. Has one of my favorite boss themes in the game. Just because I'm a sucker for triplets in the music score, and hers is just full of them. Also, she's got some cool lightning powers.
Yeah, so your favorite boss theme and my favorite area theme.
I had not noticed, but Shenanigan now has the Empire Orb, aka the Punch Orb, which Aelana is weak to, and it is really strong. Unfortunately, we are little baby levels, and we're only doing 18 per punch here.
Yeah, the Timespinner runners have not gotten good helmets.
I don't think they have any good armor, period. Which really helps on those stat boosts.
Yeah, fighting Aelana with blue orbs and no equipment, it's terrible. Hey, look, equipment.
Librarian robe, slightly better.
So,
I also like this area theme too, so you have good taste.
yeah, is
Ooh,
that Shadow?
Shadow Seal, huh? So, one of the most broken rings in the game. Basically, the more health you are missing, the better you do. I forget what Bodhi said it scaled up to. I think it was like 300%.
Sounds about right. 300% is great.
Yeah, it never actually reaches there because you have to hit 0 for it actually to happen, but it gets close.
Yeah.
Whereas Bleak Ring will only get you up to 200%.
Hate has found Empress Robe. Now that's one of the best you can get in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Hate has Succubus Hairpin.
Oh, and Empire Crown was found too on Shanigan's side, which is one of the best crowns in the game.
Yep.
Someone mentioned there's a paper KARY for Luffy, whatever that means. It means that she was easy to take out?
Yes,
Okay.
KARY was made out of paper, very low HP. So as you can see on the tracker, Luffy has the fire orb lit, meaning he gets the 2 shards for killing one of the first 2 elemental fiends.
Cool. We got Shanigan heading through the beginning area, probably tapping this portal and then coming back out. Maybe checking Skeleton and coming back out. Can't imagine wanting to go into... They don't have keycard A yet.
Ooh, checking Skeleton was huge. Ribbons are so good.
I know they're good in other games, so I imagine it's pretty good here.
You resist every element.
Oof.
So yeah, magic spell, like any magic that isn't, well, nuke or nuclear is just you're gonna do a whole lot less damage, and you're not gonna be afflicted with status effects unless you're really unlucky.
We got Shanigan heading through the Lake Desolation area, the starting area of the game, so everything dies very quickly, and heading towards the technically first boss of the game. I do want to share a story about the boss. Do you know the reason why everyone calls him Boots?
I think I know, but feel free to share.
I'll go ahead and share. The voice actor, Kitty Cat, who provided the meow that he yells at the start of the battle, was named Boots. He was actually my parents' cat. He was a big old tabby boy and big old mouser, like 18 pounds. He was a huge boy. But what Bodhi and I did is we locked him in a bathroom with us, and I put a microphone in his face. So he got mad at us and meowed, and that's that meow. So we call him Boots. Boots, unfortunately, has passed away at a very nice old age, but he has moved on to the stars, but he'll be forever remembered by everyone who plays Timespinner.
Yep. Now, meanwhile, we've had a huge route divergence between Luffy and Saracen. Luffy, when going to that volcano to get the sash, thought, okay, I'll just do ice while I'm here. Meanwhile, Saracen has decided to go through the Castle of Ordeals. Oh. Kitty... Boots? Hate, you're gonna need to kill Boots. Because that's a floater.
I just saw that. I know that's important. I've heard people hinting for it.
Yeah, the floater is, well, the airship. In Final Fantasy, you just get to skip encounters, it's super fast, and some areas you just need the floater to get to.
So very important. We got going through the library, talking to our librarian friend, and going to clean up quite a few checks here, and hopefully remember to buy warp shards. They might have stopped at the shop in the castle. I didn't pay attention. Could be that they did. But I
do
always
not
buy warp
remember.
shards anytime I'm near the crow because you always need warp shards.
Yeah. For me, like the only time I skimp out on the warp shards is if I know I'm going to be fighting the maw without a gas mask on.
Mm-hmm.
And which is enabled in this seed. We have Stinky Maw, so if we haven't seen a gas mask, which I don't remember
I don't think we've seen it.
checking for it. No, I have not.
Oh, we got key card A. That's a little scary.
So, who likes fighting Zerion?
Have we had a required Zarian in this tournament yet?
No.
I know we had a
Praise-
required
Praise
Dad Tower,
the
but
Lord.
we did have a required dad at one point, but yep, buying some warp shards and berry pick-me-ups, which are healing items.
Yes, Hate is going through Lake Desolation. Gonna get Saracen that nice floater.
Mhm.
And Saracen seeing the Agma tiles, which believe, yeah, it was pointed out in chat earlier that these Agmas have one bad thing about the grind, and it's that they have a lot of HP.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Heat got double jump at some point, so they do have access to some places now, but not everywhere.
It's
and
enough
it's
to
much
get Kitty
slower.
Boss.
It's much slower than Celestial Sash, though.
Although not horizontally, I will say that.
Yes. If Heat gets the Talaria attachment, then double jump allows you to maintain your horizontal movement, and you get some really nice movement tech out of that.
Big fan of movement tech in Timespinner. Right. Seems that Luffy is done with the ice cave. I don't remember seeing anything good from out of there. There was the Thor hammer, which doesn't really fit Luffy's party unless that thief doesn't have anything to swing, because fighters are, well, they're fighters, and red mages are having all the magic to cast, which is probably better than Lit 2.
And again, looks like maybe heading towards Ma, hoping to find that gas mask along the way, but it isn't explicitly...
He's already cleared a path through Lake Desolation, so I would be, like, if I was Shanigan, I'd be fine just going and fight me, Ma.
Because it isn't against the rules to fight the Ma when he has gas up, Stinky Ma. It just means that it's hard, and technically out of logic, but still allowed in this tournament. It just means that while you are fighting the Ma, you will slowly lose oxygen, and then very quickly and rapidly start to lose health because you'll be suffocating.
Yeah.
It takes you down very quick.
It also applies to Lake Desolation after you beat the Maw, because you've altered the timeline. That means all this gas got into Lake Desolation. I don't know the details, but it makes going through Lake Desolation very difficult.
Well, if you want the spoiler version, those of you who don't want to hear may mute for a few seconds, but it's because you saved the other planet Villette from being destroyed, and therefore they were around longer, and then used chemical warfare against Lachium, and that's why the atmosphere got poisoned.
I think I remember that from my vanilla playthrough, barely. Like, yep, casual war crimes. Anyway.
You know. Save one planet, poison the atmosphere of the other, you know, it all evens out.
Hey, one planet's still existing though, and
we
the other
found the first fire source on Shanigan's side. It was underwater, infernal flames, which is ironic.
chemical fire, folks.
Sure. Well, it's infernal, so it's got demon energy behind it. I don't know.
Meanwhile, in Final Fantasy, Crescent Lake was pretty dang funny. The confused old men were walking around. One of them had a falchion. He was like, look at this. Isn't that just
It looks like Hate finally got the sash, so they're all caught up on movement tech. Double jump does make some boss fights a lot easier, though. Easier to dodge and easier to move.
Now, see, now that waiting around for vertical movement was probably a pretty big cost, as I believe Hate is behind on a lot of checks. However, the Final Fantasy player has the Oxyale for Team Bubble Soda Company. That Oxyale gives you direct access to Sea Shrine once you have like Canoe and Floater, which Saracen does in fact have because they're looting Cardia.
Yeah, it looks like Saracen has more things on their tracker except for that F orb.
Yeah. The orbs are technically not required. There's enough shards that you can find without lighting all 4 orbs. However, there's just barely enough.
This is just me trying to pass the test by context clues, even though I didn't study.
a passable effort. That's what we're going for.
Yes, there are more things highlighted on one side other than the other.
However, the important thing is, in fact, that Oxyale, because Sea Shrine does, in fact, have a lot of checks.
Is that the one with the O on it?
Yes, with a little barrel submarine.
Oh, it's a submarine. Okay.
It is specifically a barrel with a little air hole coming out.
It's a submarine.
It's the DIY submarine.
Chanigan taking out an optional boss. Don't always have to fight that boss in the randomizer, but sometimes you do because she is blocking a few chests. Just a couple. Well,
see what's in
3 technically. Oxyel?
Wyvern Room. That is upper. I believe that is upper banishment caves.
Wyvern.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yes, that is the Caves of Banishment. So I think Shanigan's just gonna head there because it's on the way.
Yeah, there's that. Or Shanigan just goes through the Caves of Banishment, takes out Ma, and then comes up the elevator to grab that Oxyale. Because when I came into this tournament, I thought I was just like, oh no, I have to make sure the Final Fantasy player finish it because they typically have a longer game than the Timespinner players. But because it's the sum of both teams' time, both players need to make sure that the other isn't blocked. You need to always be making progress. Just like I thought, Shanigan is in fact going through Banishment Cave.
Caves of Banishment introduces quite a few enemies that can poison you. Poison in Timespinner is actually a detriment and not just something you ignore, because it does not go away for the longest time, and it will drain you down to barely any hit points.
Yeah.
Also, it's percentage-based, because I told Bodhi that it should actually matter and not just be ignorable. So you can blame me for it.
Oh. This is suddenly that, like, good feeling of talking to you just went that
vaporized. It's all my plan.
Anyway, back to the Hall of Giants for Luffy, and got to take out these metal slimes because it's just so good EXP.
Maybe I can endear you to myself because my cat also voiced Maeth, the little dragon.
Oh no, that seals the deal because no one likes Maeth.
Really?
Yeah, everyone loves Kobo or the Merchant Crow.
Huh.
Just because they're useful and May of Fire is banned in the tournament.
Not banned, just the fire crimes.
No, well, specifically for burning the vines.
Yeah, the fire crimes is what we called them in the tournament. but it's pretty easy to avoid. But I would say it's about even split. I actually held a unofficial vote, and it was about split between who was the best familiar between Maef and the Merchant Crow. Merchant Crow is definitely more useful, and the Griffin, too, whose spell doesn't miss. But Maef is adorable.
And then Maef tells you that you're a god, and then it's weird.
Maef was actually a character I made for my game when Bodhi and I were in a games class in computer science in college. And it was the same time he made the Timespinner prototype in Pygame, which was not quite as good as this. But it was, the first one he'd ever made. And Maef's game is actually where Sandman and Nightmare come from.
So that's why Maef knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually such a neat real-life explanation of not real-life lore.
But yeah, the story of Maef's game is that you're a little dragon and you fall asleep one day, and then you find that you can't wake up, so you're going to travel through the dreams into the nightmare realm in order to talk to Sandman to see if he'll just let you wake up. And you do that, and he's like, lol, no. And so you beat him up, and then he turns into Nightmare, and then you beat him, and it turns out that the entire world Maef was in was a dream, because dragons don't exist. And Maef sees a light in the distance and heads off to it, and so we figured Maef was heading off to see Lunaeus.
Alright. I like it. Meanwhile,
We got Spindle.
Yeah, the Spindle, which Team KARY on my Wayward Sons actually hinted for. Saracen was already in Sea Shrine, so I don't know if he hinted for it. That hint might be able to make up some ground for hinting for that Timespinner wheel earlier, because a lot of this Archipelago tournament turns down to how well do you Archipelago, not just play the games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're missing quite a few pieces of the Timespinner. It looks like we got the wheel and the spindle, and that's it on Hate's side. I haven't been paying too much attention to shenanigans. It's hard to tell. Things go by so rapidly. But I don't think Shenigan has any more gears. No, they have the one gear they found in Alana's tower.
That was the wheel
That
they
was
found.
the wheel. Okay. Wheel and gear, they're the same shape. Also brown.
Well, you can blame your friend for that. They're all brown.
They're all brown. Well, that just shows you they're all from the same thing. It's cohesive design.
There's the Oxyel for Luffy as he was running for Onrak, so that is some excellent team play there. 0 wasted time.
Awesome.
Also Warp at slot 1, level 7. Warp, always nice to have, especially if you're diving into Mermaid side, which the Spindle is on. Either that or, oh wait, there's also Exit. Just leave. Because being one of the later dungeons, Sea Shrine, because of those lobsters of doom on Saracen's screen, they are pure nightmare fuel. And they should never be on my screen, and they should be on my opponent's screen if I hope to win. Alright. So, both Final Fantasy runners in the Sea Shrine, I believe Saracen is making a run for Kraken with more lobsters. Ew!
Lobster's not good?
They are dangerous. They
Just get some rubber bands on their pinchers. We'll be good.
Like, they only hit for 5 damage on the fighter, but that's because it's a fighter. They have lots of armor. They hit a mage, it's doing like 40 damage, and when you only have 200 HP, it chews through a lot.
Yeah, I imagine there's some that just kind of melt your party away.
Yeah, and they like to show up in large packs. Like, what would it be? Shows up in at least packs of 6, maybe more.
Light Wall from Luffy sent to Shennigan. Not necessary at this point, but the final boss is weak to that spell. The spell is a platform spell that gets you vertical, but it also does damage. You plunk it down in his face, and it does damage over time.
Oh, Gear 3 is also in Sea Shrine.
Oh! How the tables turn.
So yeah, I think both the Timespinner runners are just looking for Gear 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we got Meatball at the top of Varndegroth Tower, where
If
the
you don't
Timespinner
feel like
is.
using Light Wall to kill Nightmare, that's another option. They also just have this thing called the Shadow Seal, which we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm. If they find Radiant Orb, then they're probably going to go with that.
Yeah. And the big weakness of Radiant Orb, that being it's pretty slow, it can be negated by quickly switching out your orbs using the jewelry box, which is allowed in this tournament.
Technically,
So-
it's not a glitch because the developer intended that to be something that you can actually do.
Here, I thought I was smart. Here,
Well, he
here
thought
people
that no one actually would bother doing it, so that's on him.
Well,
He thought it was like so tedious to do.
Well, the people that would bother to do it are right here. People racing with stakes, things like money,
And
prize
pride.
prize pools,
And pride and honor.
yeah. Although I don't think it's that big of a pride battle between these people. Pretty much all the people here racing come from the same communities. They're all, they're pretty much friends. I don't know of any bad blood between them.
It's a battle to the death. I can sense it.
Yeah, but hey, they just want to win because hey, who doesn't like winning?
Oh, we're getting a Stinky Maw challenge here on Shennigan's side.
Hit him with the big stinky.
At least the Maw is kind enough to refill your... nope, it doesn't refill from the teleport. I thought it did. You can die after killing the Maw, and it spits you out the other side, and then you just suffocate.
Yeah, so long as like your heads-up display goes away, then you know you're safe.
Chugged about 5 million potions. Killed the Maw.
Yep, light wall against the Maw. I think it works pretty well.
And then warp sharding out. It does mean those fire checks cannot be peeped easily.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that.
Possible. But heading into the military hangar, still need keycard B.
No, it was
no.
in Banishment Jackpot.
Right, okay, I see it.
And if you went to kill Maw and you had the Celestial Sash, who doesn't
You're
check
gonna get the jackpot.
Who doesn't check Jackpot? But a military hangar, one of these short, sweet areas with such a good high energy song. I love it.
You come in there. Normally there is this laser barrier and it's all quiet when you come in here when the laser barrier is up. And there's the gas mask. It was in Sea Shrine.
Yeah, Sea Shrine was providing tonight.
But it's fun seeing players come here the first time after killing all 3 bosses. They're like, okay, I guess we'll see what happened to the laser gate. And they come in and there's the crashed ship and the music just starts off and it's so cool. It's like, shit got real.
Yeah, the music starts like you're basically starting that path towards like the end of the game area, so the game's like hyping you up.
Stuff in here also hits like a truck. If you're a little under-leveled, you'll just get murdered.
So yeah, don't get hit, forehead.
Just get good. Avoid the giantess ladies who now have energy waves.
You can stop time. Like, that's pretty dang good for not getting hit, I will say.
Hate going to defeat Unstinky Maw. No gas
Right.
mask worries here.
Coffee break. That is the last time spinner here.
Ooh,
Chadigan is going.
coffee break is in the lab, which is the end game.
Yep. Well, I would say going, but that is just kind of walking because we don't have Terraria.
Meandering, jogging, power walking, cardio.
I mean, keeping up running at that pace for 47 minutes, that would be pretty
yeah.
dang tough.
Yeah, Linnaeus is not skipping leg day. There it is.
Now, if Chanigan has the hint points, which I highly doubt, he would hint for Teleria.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, is it somewhere convenient? Like, oh, why not? It's right there. Then he'd probably grab it. But otherwise, it's just go.
Mm-hmm.
It's called go mode for a reason. You just have to finish as quickly as you can.
So, fun fact, that boss that's optional, the little mini boss here, Experiment 13, I think.
Yep.
One of those numbers. You can look at the item he's guarding through the laser wall, but if you're playing co-op with someone where they control your familiar, the familiar can go through the lasers. They can also pick up items.
So that's why it was banned.
Yep. Mayef can just steal things. I'll take this. Thanks.
Carry on my Wayward Son being one of the only 3-player teams now. That would be an advantage.
So Mayef is prone to a life of crime.
Ooh, we've got a Kraken fight for Luffy. He was chucking out Bane, or just hitting him really hard with a fighter.
Oh, never mind. He's dead.
I was hoping for the funny Bane strats because both Kraken and Tiamat won. You can just either cast Brack or Bane and have a pretty good shot at killing them. Brack is 1 in 4 on Kraken and Tia, and then Bane's like something like 1 in 9. I never remember the exact percentage on Bane.
Here we get to see the meatball strats. Basically, the Jin Inferno spell, which you see on Chanigan's side, is the strongest spell in the game, base power. It costs a lot of mana, but or aura. But if you cast it at a specific rhythm, in that you recast it while the original spell is on the screen, the second cast and every cast afterwards will be free. So if you can keep that rhythm up, you can cast it forever. And it's just so easy to do that glitch that it's allowed in basically every tournament.
So what counts as, like, on screen? Like, I feel like it could just barely get out of the wall and it still counts.
So the actual code reason is the sprite still loaded?
Ah.
Because it's a flag that only that spell got set wrong. There's a flag about reusing images in the game for efficiency. And that one got a flag set weirdly so that if you reuse the image, it just doesn't cost any magic. So
one of the first glitches people do, and probably unintentionally if I'm being honest, if I just want to spam meatball.
Yeah, it's very easy to do, especially if you get in a nice rhythm of it. It feels good, and then you start noticing that your aura bar is not going down.
So you keep feeling good. It's just a constant loop of dopamine.
Mm-hmm. Reese Wolf said 1 in 7 for Kraken in the chat.
Ah. So correct.
And also Classic Gamer said closer to 1 in 7.
That specifically versus Kraken, was that the 1 in 9 against Tiamat? Because I'm pretty sure Tia has higher MDef.
And again, in the end game, probably not going to check any of the chests, because once Chanigan gets to the final boss, they can hand over all their items to their partner.
Alright. Oh, Tia for Brack is 1 and 7. What? One day I'll relook at the game mechanics PDF for Final Fantasy NES.
So you clearly said when we were offline that you're an expert, and I am disappointed in this knowledge.
There's a reason why I'm the Timespinner player in my... Like, I just played Final Fantasy 1 on the Game Boy Advanced, and then I joined this community joined the FFR community because I liked randos, and Super Metroid is very difficult to play mechanically.
I see that Saracen has the taller jobs, whatever that's called.
The promoted classes.
Yes, the burly ones.
We have the Knight, which equips heavier armor and better swords, and also low-level white magic levels 1 through 3. With this limited slot selection.
Oh, neat. I didn't know that.
And the Red Wizard, which can learn higher level magic, both white and black, up to level 7.
Hilaria is Nightmare Door chest. It's the last chest in the game.
Ow!
How
does it feel, Chanigan, to get your Talaria right before Nightmare?
That's a kick in the teeth.
I am salty from a few nights ago.
I did want to mention Sandman, he's gone now, but that sprite was the original sprite I made for my game, but Bodhi made it a lot cooler.
Yeah. A lot of these players, I have to give some context as to why I'm laughing now. They were laughing at me because they gave me both Celestial Sash and Talaria attachment as I'm saving right before Nightmare.
Nice.
So it's my turn to laugh now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna laugh even harder at Hate because he laughed at me a whole lot. He even laughed as I'm trying to do a difficult light wall skip to avoid climbing all the way back up that final drop when you get smashed.
Nightmare here, final boss in the game, final boss from Mayev's game. I designed him originally after a horse skeleton because I read a scary story about a horse skeleton as a child, and it stuck with me. So the community likes calling it
chat.
beating a dead horse. Exclamation points in chat for Chanigan.
Yep. So the exclamation point, just the first thing you do, or first thing Lunea says after performing such a feat, and then she talks about how many concussions she's felt. It's for the rando, and the vanilla, I forget.
Just like generic, what's happening? Oh, you've defeated God, so now you are God.
Yep. Average fantasy game, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense to me. But hey, I love the concussion count that they've added to the Timespinner rando.
We can thank Wef Jebster for that. He worked really hard on that. It's like the bunk counter, so you can take guesses on it.
Alright. So, any extra time that Hate takes to finish is basically what I like to call the buffer for the Final Fantasy players. So basically, Hate finishes at 5 minutes after Chanigan did. I forgot to mark down the time that Chanigan finished. Whoops.
We are experts, and I will take no comments or criticism at all.
With an official racetime.gg time, Chanigan finished at 53:46.
Looks like Hate still is missing a gear. Like gear 2 is not on their tracker.
Oh, we'll see that. Anyway, so as I was saying, the amount of time gap between the time Chanigan finishes and the time Hate finishes is what I call the buffer for the FFR players. So let's say Luffy's still playing Final Fantasy. Hate finishes He knows how long of a buffer he has. He sees Saracen finish, and it's not over yet. That buffer is like the new countdown timer of you must finish or you lose. And
it's the combined time of the two players.
Yeah. So typically that Timespinner player is like would relay that information, like how much time do you have? Like, do you need to enter Topher right now? Like Luffy's doing. He's in Topher, fighting KARY 2. Comes out with a tornado, non-elemental AoE damage, so those ribbons are going to be useless. Yikes.
It looks like
bad turn order.
Looks like Hate is just waiting for something, so they probably know where the last gear is and are just waiting for their partner to get there.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. And Hate, if I was in Hate's position, I'm just like, I wonder if I can just randomly find my Teleria attachment or something.
We know they can't, but...
But, yeah. Hate doesn't know that yet.
Nope. But you kind of want to be right here, ready to go, once you get that gear.
Kraken 2 hitting that fighter hard. The Thief throwing up a defense sword, which is casting Ruse to get that evasion very high.
Ooh.
Ooh.
He's taking a nap.
That fighter is down for the... Let's see if this ninja with the katana, 3 hits, 3 damage, that is... The katana -3, so Luffy's in some trouble, and that's a reset.
Hate managed to get their last gear from their partner and heading into endgame. Picking the other, there's the Empire Orb. Picking the one of 2 bosses, the one on the left has less hit points and technically is easier, but if you have the Empire Orb, the one on the right, even though it has more hit points, is weak to it. So, depending on which orbs you have leveled up.
He was using Shadow Seal strats, avoiding the save point to start that fight at low HP, and then he got a max HP up.
Ruined! Yeah, he did some really good toe taps on those save points. Save points don't heal you all at once. It heals you for while you are overlapping the save point. So if you jump into it and then double jump back out, you'll save the game but not heal all the way and keep your Shadow Seal.
Alright, Proto Dad goes down.
Broke the timeline. And into the end game. The final area.
Alright, we've got Fast coming out. It seems Luffy is going with speed and power strats. Ooh, that's nuclear from Kraken 2. That is a lot of damage, and that puts a lot of these classes under 1 hit range from Kraken, especially. So trying to get that heal 3 up to hopefully get the fighter specifically above the HP threshold. Nuke comes out 300, great roll. Crits for the katana to hit 4 hits for 180. That's really good. Masa from the fighter 672. Kraken 2 is down.
Uni's down.
That is a huge roadblock down. Kraken 2 does Kraken 2 things. There have been a few races that have been decided by Kraken 2 across so many Final Fantasy Randomizer tournaments. Like, even with the current scaling that we're at, Kraken 2 can go so far as to hit like an almost max level black belt for over 800 damage. Like, he can be scary. Cheeky Bane coming out from the Thief, trying to take down Tiamat. Looks like Luffy is still going for those speed and power strats by locking Tia. The 9 hits, 957. One more good amount of damage, and Tia should be going down. Tia realizing Fighter's a threat, but that last nuke takes out Tia too. We are on Chaos. Luffy beats Chaos. If Luffy beats Chaos, that is GG. Yeah, you do not want to disrespect Chaos. especially because we haven't even seen Nuke yet. Nuke being exactly like your spell Nuke, where it just does a whole lot of non-elemental damage, up to 400. So if, say, Chaos Cast Nuke, everyone but the fighter could die.
There's that insult Talaria attachment again.
It's because he made fun of me.
Yes. The world knew and rigged it for this.
Alright, the fighter is buffed up. I don't know about any defensive buffs, though. So there's always that chance for, ooh, actually 140 damage on the fighter, that's not too bad, and the thief has the evasion being that dodge tank.
Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, the actual order of the characters matter. Most hits go to the top.
Yep, it is 50%, 1/4, and then 1/8, 1/8.
And then I assume if the top one's dead, then it condenses down. Oh, and that's it.
Terminated. GG's to Team KARY on my Wayward Sons, coming with a clean victory.
He's beating up that dead horse and almost going to be done.
Finishing in 1 hour, 2 minutes, 32 seconds. So their combined time is 1 hour...
55.
1 hour, 56. 18.
Yeah.
I think. I can math. Something like that. It's within 30 seconds. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, there's apparently a 1 in 256 less chance for slot 3 to be a target than slot 4. Apparently.
Okay, Shumba. Okay, I see how.
Slightly different. Exclamation point for hate and yeah.
Yep.
That was a cool race.
Yeah, and we are joined in the booth by Team KARY on my Wayward Son.
Hello.
Hey guys.
How about that Talaria?
We had a pretty good laugh
That's the
about that.
biggest troll. I'm
was
so
such
happy
an
I didn't
insult.
answer it.
It was such an insult.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So GG's to the both of you with a very clean win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it felt pretty good. We communicated real well together. We had a good plan. We stuck with it. Massa +4 early doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
You got the Talaria, not the Talaria, the Celestial Sash earlier than the other team, and that really made a difference in all the areas you could check.
Yeah.
Hinted for it, and it was easy to get for your partner.
Yeah, I believe Hate hinted for Timespinner wheel first.
Yeah, I almost hinted for Timespinner wheel, and
that would have made it a lot more competitive race.
I'm like, I either need Sash or wheel, or Teleria to go somewhere to have some checks, because I was in BK mode for maybe a minute, 2 minutes tops.
Yeah.
I will compliment you guys on that communication, because I specifically when you're going to get that Oxy Ale, I saw Luffy bolting right for on rack.
Yeah.
That was such good timing.
Because we were talking, like, if I can get to level 15, then I don't got to worry about the key, and you're going to give me the Oxy, how much time you need? He's like, I need 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, that'll give me enough time to get my levels, and then I can grab a few key lock checks, and then by the time you hand me that Oxy, I will be pretty much on my way. And it worked out. Like, I just got my last check, and I'm walking out of Elfling Castle literally as you said it to me. So, communication.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we've got Saracen on Tia 2. I don't remember seeing anything weird out of Tia 2. The speed and power strats work pretty well.
Yeah.
Always works.
If you hit your head against the brick wall enough times, the brick wall will go down.
Yep.
But the bosses in general in Final Fantasy were kind of pushovers. Oh. Zap goes
as you say that.
Down goes the White Mage. Well, the White Mage doesn't really have too much of a use after the Tia 2 fight. Especially if you have a red mage. Anyway, I'm trying to think. Hmm. So what do you? Let me ask you. Man, I am just blanking on questions. Kind of want to ask Luffy more about FFR because we spent a lot of time talking about Timespinner during this race.
Well, you got a real good person to talk to Timespinner with right there.
Yeah.
Llama and I did a stream like a week or two ago, and it was extremely educational. So you got a good partner there.
There's only one other person who knows more about Timespinner than I do.
Yeah, I think that was my race. You were.
I think it might have been. Yep.
I think so.
Anyway.
Yeah, we talked a bit because there was quite all over. Yes, the Shroom Baby. I mean the programmer, Bodhi, who is my best friend.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what you? I remember something. That katana -3. You were the. Saracen did not bring a thief, and you did. And how'd you feel about seeing that katana?
I mean, it was fine. Like I think I said to Chanigan when I was selecting party, I was looking at the blur scene, like, oh, thief plus katana. All right, I'm bringing one because I know I'm going to find one. And you know, of course, you find one and it rolls down this time, which is a bit of a giggle. But
You didn't find Vorpal at all?
Nope. We got the Massa +4, the katana. I had like 3 ice sword +5, so it was fine.
I think Team Bubble Soda Company found the X-Cal. Did you guys end up finding that?
Chanigan sent me that. Yeah. I think X-Cal -1 or something. I think it was -1, but I didn't promote, so Massa +4.
Oh right, you didn't promote. It's so crazy thinking about a party like yours not promoting.
It was okay. I mean, I had just enough gear. I had 3 ribbons. I had, enough gear on the fighter to get him through, aside from Kraken having a different idea the first time around. But, the Dragon Armor was lined up, and there was things I could have done if I wanted to promote, but we were going to give it a shot and see what happened, and it worked out.
And GG's for Saracen. Finish it up, Chaos.
GG's, bud.
All right, let's see if I can get him in here. All right, we are joined in the booth by Bubble Soda Company, always carbonated.
Hey, how about that Talaria attachment?
How does it feel, Hate? How does it feel?
Did you hit for it?
I did early, and I was like, well, that's absolutely
I almost
trash.
hinted for it. I'm like, no, I need my key cards before.
Now, all you need is to
Talaria.
get that sash in the nightmare room.
Yeah, I got, I played for crap tonight, but I knew you were going to be a serious contender, Chanigan, and I'm not surprised that you beat me, because you've been hammering the times down on these, so GG's.
GG's. The biggest difference was how early Chanigan got the Celestial Sash. Got it earlier than Hate did, and that really put a difference. Because even with the Succubus Hairpin to get that double jump, Celestial Sash is just way faster.
Yeah, allows for actual access to the tower if you don't have the wheel.
Yeah. You also hinted for the wheel, right?
Yeah, that was the first thing I hinted for, because I was like, all right, let's see if I can at least get something to get up to the twins, and no.
Yeah. I almost hinted for the wheel, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna hint for... I was about to hint
Chanigan
for
has almost been
Sash.
tempted.
Yeah. Man. Early TPK, I went to the present as soon as possible. Did my check, forget 1 chest. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna bite me later if it's something good.
No, I
Did
ended
all
up,
my checks. I'm like, all right, going back, and it was nothing. I'm like, thank God.
yeah, I ended up like triple dipping the first area of the present just because it was like I was just not braining well tonight.
I am glad
I'm
we
not
got to
gonna
see
lie.
Boots, though.
Yes,
Boots
for the
with
limited
floater.
amount of time.
With loader, yes.
Oh yeah, I know.
A very
Luffy
important
was
kitty
about
cat.
Luffy was about to hint for floater.
Yeah, I was mad. I hinted for the chime, not thinking like, floater would be good, because I'm like, I need to get into sea or into sky because I got to get my checks, and let me hint for that. And then, luckily I was in Ice Cave just doing whatever checks I could in there to try to get my points that I needed, and he sent me the floater right there. I'm like, ah, sweet.
Yeah, I sent the floater about the time that Saracen was in Volcano, and I have talked a lot, so I'm gonna let Saracen talk for a bit.
Yeah, so I got the sash for hate right as he killed Boots, like within 2 items of, and I faded the rest of Volcano until the end of the game, and then realized, oh hey, there was a Masa in here, and that probably would have gotten me through things. I had a deadweight white mage whose only purpose was to get life 2'd by the red mage and exit. And
Let's
yeah.
leave.
yeah, it was not great. I was having problems with the runs on that. I just went fighter rainbow because I'd been having issues with thief leads and yeah.
Well, that thief did had a katana -3, so
It did something. It was alright.
It was still a good.
it
good
threw
character.
a bane sword at Kraken and Tia too.
Yeah. When I forgot to move around the defense sword again after I reset out of that first Kraken 2, and I threw cheeky Banes at him, just having some fun. It was guy. It was cute.
I forgot to move the Bane sword in the first place, and if you looked at the Chaos fight, I did so many things wrong in there, and one of them was I went to use the defense sword and realized I never actually moved it to the knight. And so I'm like, well, I guess I'm bonking.
I think you
Whoops.
also
Sweet
cast
power.
fast on your right mage, right?
And temper. Yep,
Yeah.
Nice.
this menued both of them. It was pretty great.
We all do that. It happens.
Well, I mean, by that point, we had seen the race room and we knew what was up, so.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Man, Rando's gonna Rando, and Shanigan not being tempted by hinting for the wheel into Laria probably made such a huge difference. It's probably Luffy's birthday luck. By the way, happy birthday, Luffy.
Happy birthday!
Yes.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it very much.
I'd sing, but I can't carry a tune if you give it to me in the bucket.
We'll try that after the broadcast is over. Speaking of, let's start wrapping this up. Let's have some final thoughts here from Team KARY on my Wayward Son. Shanigan, you'll lead us off.
Not a lot to say for real. Thank you guys for racing. You were one scary team. I knew, hey, you were doing some bonker times lately, so I was scared of you. And you too, Saracen, great FFR player. Thank you guys for commentating, restreaming, and everything, tracking, and the whole thing. Thank you guys. That was a fun race.
Yep. Yeah, I'll extend that thank you to like the whole race crew. Llama Girl being with me in the booth.
Anytime.
Anyway, Luffy, any final thoughts?
Just thank you again to everybody for putting on the show tonight, doing the commentary, the restream, the tracking. Thank you to our opponents for showing up and knowing, like Shanigan said, this was not going to be easy. We really tried to push ourselves hard, and we've been racing together for a while, and we feel pretty good about what we did tonight, and we're hoping to bring it to next week, and we'll see how we do.
Right. Team Bubble Soda Company. Yes, hate.
I was going to say, Saracen, I've talked a lot. I'll let you go first.
I'm going with the finish times.
All right. Well, that's a fair cop then. So yeah, thanks to Dark Moon for stepping in at the last moment to handle the restream, because weather issues for the original restreamer meant that we might not have had this if he hadn't jumped in. So thank you very much for that, Dark Moon. And thanks to Admiral Tryhard and Llama Girl for volunteering to jump in the booth, and special thanks to Llama Girl for agreeing to jump in the booth, because I will fully admit, when I didn't get much of another response, I reached out to her directly because, well, I know she knows her stuff.
Yes,
And
I'm
thanks to-
absolutely ready to fill in anytime you guys need, and I'll let you know if I'm too busy otherwise.
Well, thank you, Candy, and also thanks to Kevin for jumping on and doing the tracking for us, and thanks to Berserker for starting this thing up, putting the bug in, and Danny for getting the rest of the tournament organized, and Luffy, Shanigan, Shum, You best go on to win now.
That's the plan.
I have other plans.
You know what? No, man, they knocked me out. I gotta vote for them now.
Hey, I also had my hand in knocking you.
Yeah, but they finished it, so you know.
Okay, that's it. All right, Sarah.
Like everybody's been saying, thanks to everybody who helped put this this race onto the restream. I appreciate you all. It's been a good run. Thanks to Berserker for putting this on. I know an inaugural cash tournament is a daunting thing, and I'm really glad that Berserker reached out to get this set up and was happy to compete in it. It was a good run. Hate, I think we did well. I'm happy with our performance, even though we lost. And GG's Chanigan, Luffy, and Shum.
Yeah.
All right. That llama girl, we're starting to have the back burner on us. Any final thoughts?
Not terribly. Always fun to commentate these races. I'm slowly learning bits and pieces of FFR, but I'm happy to have my partner in crime here to help me along with the details.
All right. With that, thank you all for watching. Tune in Monday night was the other half of the semifinals. Hopefully we'll get a race crew for that. I believe it's Monday night, 10 p.m. is the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, and I will be, you will have a race crew for that. Even if I have to do it myself, you'll have a crew.
I might
All
join.
right,
Yeah, I'm
Coach.
on vacation, so I might join.
All right.
Too.
Put me in, Coach. I'll do comms.
All right, well, it sounds like we've got a crew then.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. And with that, I think all business is taken care of, so
Good night,
have a good
everyone.
night.
Night, guys.